Hey guys, it's Kealoha. I was born and raised in the Marshall Islands on the island of Kwajalein. It's been a U.S. Army base since World War II. We moved away when I was 15 because my dad retired and he wanted to come back home to Hilo.
Hey guys, my name's Noe and I was born and raised on the Big Island. My parents moved from the Marshall Islands in their 20s and have stayed here ever since. I am Marshallese, Kashayan, Japanese, and German. The Marshall Islands are a sprawling chain of volcanic islands and coral atolls in the Central Pacific Ocean, between Hawaii and Australia. 2/3 of the nation's population lives on Madro and Ibai. The outer islands are sparsely populated due to the lack of employment opportunities and economic development. It is still generally fairly traditional, where the people there rely on foods that are grown and caught.
In 2015, the Marshall Islands joined in on the Paris Climate Change Agreement. It's an international treaty aimed at reducing global warming. Tony de Broom coined the term 1.5 to stay alive, meaning that anything over a 2 degrees Celsius increase in global temperatures would be deadly to many low-lying countries, including the Marshall Islands. The Marshall Islands have already begun to see the effects of global warming by the way of king tides. Homes have been washed away, and parts of the islands are being submerged underwater. This is why the issue has taken a forefront in political agenda in the Marshall Islands.
Christianity was introduced by the Protestant missionaries in 1857, and today most Marshallese base their faith and identity on Christian belief, which includes God, rituals, traditions, afterlife, and magic. Black magic is a type of dark magic that can be used to put a spell on someone that can cause sickness and/or death. Death related to accidents, sickness, suicides, or even death of a young one is looked at as black magic related. The Marshallese culture believe in good spirits and bad spirits. When a person dies, the soul may return and haunt the living. These evil spirits were thought to cause misfortune, illness, and death.
So this is my mother. She's been in Hawaii for more than 30 years, and she is going to answer one of our questions. Who does the culture use to treat diseases?
The medicine man or the medicine woman. Few folks that are generation to generation in their families that are known to be medicine man and medicine woman.
In the Marshall Islands, there are 2 public hospitals. However, most Marshallese will turn to a medicine man or a medicine woman for traditional herbal treatments before considering a trip to the hospital. The first example that I will be talking about is the coconut. The coconut is used as a topical oil or cream that can be used for skin diseases such as eczema, hives, psoriasis, rosacea, and dermatitis. So this is a tool that is used to shred the coconut meat. And you keep shredding until you've scraped all the coconut meat from inside the coconut. And this is what you get. So from here, you are going to gather all of that meat, and then you're going to put it in a mesh type cloth that's sitting in a cup, and you are just going to let it drip. You want to leave it out where there is lots of sunlight. And this process of the oil collection will take anywhere from 6 months to a couple of years. And here's the end product, natural coconut oil. It's in a solid white form right now because it's pretty cold out, but once you get it under the sun and it warms up, it's going to turn into liquid. Women who have just given birth, along with their newborns, are given a traditional bath called the green bath. It involves this plant right here, and its purpose is to ensure the health of the mother and the health of her newborn. Basically, you boil a bunch of leaves and then just bathe in the water. So it's kind of like taking a really hot tea bath.
So my parents also have bananas on their little farm. Not only for the tasty fruit that they produce, but also because of medicinal purposes and their beliefs. So, for example, my other half broke his ankle a few years ago, And my parents are like, come, 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 you need to drink banana, you need to wrap it around your foot so the swelling goes down. And this is what they believe. They believe that the banana trunk, the tree, you want to chop it down, chop it into pieces, and then you want to just start mashing it. And the juice, the liquid that comes from the trunk, is what you are given to drink, and that is believed to reduce your swelling and just help the healing process. And also the mashed up banana, the actual trunk, they wrapped it around my other half's ankle, believing that it would help reduce the swelling.
As with most island nations, the Marshallese receive imports of a lot of canned and processed foods, such as spam and corned beef. But traditionally, the people relied on the land for food, like fish, coconuts, and breadfruit. So this is my parents' house, and as you can see, they can't live without coconuts, so they have about 5 trees on their property, and we use coconuts for toppings, sauces, sides, or even eating it raw straight out of the coconut. They also have a tree where they have the coconuts that you can drink from. So this is breadfruit, and it is a staple in the Marshallese culture. It is so delicious. It can be prepared in many ways. You can grill it, you can smoke it, you can steam it, drizzle some coconut oil over it. You can make it into chips. Super tasty and delicious. So this is the pandanus fruit, and to me it's kind of like a hard mango. So it's sweet and tasty like a mango, but it's pretty firm. Like you have to chew it a little bit to get the juices out. We like to steam it and then snack on it, or some people will juice it for a refreshing drink.
Ancient taboos mostly involved land, ocean, and the chiefs. There were certain areas on the islands that were only for the chiefs, and commoners were not allowed. During certain times of the year, certain areas of the island were off limits for fishing in order to allow replenishment. The same went for certain land areas. It was the job of the chiefs to enforce these taboos to allow for sustainable living. In modern times, these taboos have been less enforced, if not eliminated. Another cultural taboo is for females to wear pants because they are seen as a man's garment. However, in pre-Christian times, the Marshallese were accustomed to wearing woven skirts and being topless. When missionaries arrived in the Marshall Islands in the late 1800s, they changed the wardrobe to suit their conservative ideations.
What are the typical roles of men and women in the culture?
The typical roles for men is he's the hunter, fisherman, he's the food gatherer, and the women are supposed to be home and have babies, take care of the house, feed the children, make sure they go to school. That's the typical role of a man or woman.
The Marshallese are a matrilineal society. Land was passed down through the women. In the culture, land and women are one because they are both nurturers. The Marshallese term for this translates to the word umbilical cord, because both women and the land nourished life. When a female was born, it benefited the family because their ties to the land, place in society, identity, and history continued through her. Men were the face of the family, but the women made all of the major decisions and were held in great respect. Women's roles became more submissive after many different colonizations and the introduction of Christianity. As medical professionals, it's important to self-reflect on what we know about the culture. It's also vital to go into the room without any preconceived notions of the culture. With that being said, here are some things to remember regarding the Marshallese culture. First of all, there may be a language barrier. Use your hospital resources according to its policies when you need translating services. Know that they may prefer to have a nurse who is the same sex as them and may not answer personal questions truthfully when asked by someone of the opposite sex. Know that family is a huge part of the culture and life. Grandpa may be in the hospital and his children, grandchildren, nieces, cousins, and even their pastor may be there to visit. When it comes to family, everyone is important. Showing support and being present is a part of life and can promote healing in the culture.
see what